All righty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys, so we had a wild goose chase going on today in the markets. We had a big overnight move up off of off of the powers fighting the orange man, okay? And then the orange man got all pissy and mad about it, and he rugged the market and took a stand. He said, "You guys are gonna try and back me into a corner? You kidding me? No, I'm gonna punish you guys." And then it's a wild goose chase. Okay. Oh, tariffs are off. Tariffs are back on. Honestly, I don't think the market cares about tariffs at this point. I think they just want to know 100% what the heck is happening. How can we factor this into things? I think, if tariffs are gonna come back full force, and they're, they didn't go anywhere. I'm just letting everyone know that. It's still up in the air about pretty much everything when it comes to tariffs. Apparently, okay, he doesn't want to negotiate, but then he's going to negotiate. We have absolutely no freaking idea, and the people are sick of it. So we're going to see what happens here, but I'm just going to say, as long as this is going on, guys, we are trading in a clown market, and you have to acknowledge that. Okay, you have to just realize what environment you're trading in. And I know you guys are gonna think I'm nuts. Okay, I know I am a little nuts. I'm definitely a little nuts. I think this looks more bullish than not. I know, I'm freaking insane. I know, but I'm gonna go over what I'm thinking in this video. I think we have a lot of charts that it just wouldn't make sense to top out where we did. I don't think it makes sense to sell into tomorrow. If they do, we're probably gonna be trading flat for the next few weeks or trading down. And I just don't think things across the board really suggest that's the likely scenario. But at the end of the day, they had you here in pre-market up at 530, and they closed you all the way down at, what was it, 519, 520 just about. Okay, so they give back $10 by the close. They took out yesterday's low over here. But at the end of the day, you are still at the top end of where you just kind of consolidated and you tried breaking out. So far, it's a false breakout. But I'm going to come back over here to SPY, and I'm just going to say this is not the worst look. We do have PC coming in tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is definitely something that can easily move the markets up or down. The markets are fragile right now. They're definitely weak markets. I'm just going to say they do have to pump this thing, or they are going to either trade it flat for the next few weeks, or they are going to do absolutely nothing with this. Okay, trade it flat or bring it back down to the scene of the crime down here. SPY's 200 DMA, and then I have to assume we're probably going to be testing 200 DMA over here on QQQ. NQ, does this look good by any means? No. All right, it does not. It looks pretty ugly in my personal opinion. I just think across the board, we do have things as a whole looking like I definitely, more bullish than bearish. Okay, so let's just go over the indices here. I'm just going to flash through everything before we go over the levels, just to really, put this in perspective here. You did close out, it's not inside day, but you kind of got this 2-day range going on, relatively small candles here, 2 days in a row, that you're in the same exact spot. You swept the low over there. You swept the high over there. It's not telling you anything. You have to wait to see what the market's going to actually do from here. But you are, at the end of the day, just kind of consolidating in a bullish manner, I would say, up here. Now, what doesn't look all that bullish is what the heck is this thing going on here on the 4-hour time frame. You did come up to 598.51. The top of this is 598.31. It's by 20 cents. And they completely came back to the scene of the crime. This does not look good. But what I will say is we do have these 15-minute bullish divergences here on QQ, NQ, and ES going into tomorrow. That is something to take note of. The hourly RSIs, if we fall a little bit more, maybe overnight, these are going to be oversold. At the end of the day, we are still in an uptrend. Now the last major low over here, the last swing low we're going to be watching, it's going to be all the way down to 505.58. So for all we know, we could stay right here. And if they do close it out like this, I would say we probably are going to end up in the end going higher off of this if they close it here or higher. I don't think it would be the best look here to sell down underneath 514.59 tomorrow and close underneath there. At that point, I do think we have a little top going on here, and we're probably going to pull back over here into, early June over the next 1 to 2 weeks. And then I would imagine we get bought up over here. I'm not sure exactly how it is going to be going, but I'll tell you right now, if that opportunity does present itself, we're going to have a complete reset on setups across the board. We're going to then, we're going to have a reset before probably a 1 to 3 week rally here. Well, we're going to say 2 to 3 week rally from here up to here. All right. And I know you're crazy. Okay. You're crazy, Henry. All-time highs. You're nuts. In this market, yeah, I know. I'm a little bit crazy. Okay. They still have a window here. They have a chance to pop this. And I am just saying, I think they have to pop this, relatively soon. You think tomorrow. Or, yeah, it does look like we're probably going to be trading flat / selling back down. And if we sell back down, we're probably going to take this out right here and test the 200 DMA over there. I would imagine buyers step in down there. All right, so that is really what we're seeing. But SPY doesn't look all that bad with the red hammer candlestick on the day. QQ still looks a little funky there. All right, but then take a look over here at DIA. Take a look at IWM. We'll take a look at the MAG 7 stock. So this is the MAGS ETF. It's just literally retesting where it broke out from over here. Tesla. All right, apparently Elon Musk and Trump are going to have they're going to have a live call tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that is something that potentially could be moving this thing up. I guess they're going to be talking about how it's his last day and stuff like that. I don't know if he's going to really pump the stock over here, but considering he can get everybody to take their money out of the market continuously, out of the market, in the market, out of the market, in the market. All right, give us a clown show going on over here on SPY and QQQ for the last few weeks. Okay, considering he could do that. I don't know. Maybe he is about to do some things that's about to pump Tesla back up. Okay, Tesla, again, call me crazy. It doesn't look all that bearish to me. I know, you closed out here, 2-day range you got going on here. I talked about in yesterday's video, the thesis, we need to make a new high tomorrow and continue pushing, or the thesis is it's clipped. Well, I'm just going to say we technically did make the new high. We're consolidating above the breakout level over here, 354.99. And honestly, I'd argue all the way from 350 to 355, like you honestly are looking for buyers to defend this thing. You're looking for them to buy the dip. I'm not saying they do, but at the end of the day, this is just consolidating after this, week and a half long range here. Yeah, week and a half long range. 7 to 8 trading sessions, and I do imagine it's going to push up after this. Again, it's the same boat as the indices. Like if you sell here, it's going to look real ugly, and you are going to probably either trade completely flat. You're in this thing over here, and you probably do have an additional 2 weeks over here of consolidation, or you're going to pull all the way back down over here at $300. That's really what it's looking like to me. If they're going to sell it, I don't think they're going to sell it. And like, that's kind of one of the reasons why, like if they do it, I just know you have the robotaxi thing going on June 12th. I imagine they're going to pump this thing into it. NVIDIA was just trying, during their earnings call, Jensen was trying to pump Tesla stock there. All right. And then after the fact, he was also trying to pump Tesla stock, talking about these humanoid robots. And all of the autonomous vehicles that are going to be on the road and how nobody is ready. Okay. Like, let's be completely real. Gents, I don't know if this is something that happened in the .com bubble era. I have no freaking clue. But this guy definitely just tried hyping the entire world up for AI, saying this is just the beginning. This is the start. All right. It's a revolution. Okay. Everybody hop on all aboard. And, I'm just going to say, I feel like these are things that are set at tops. But I also want to say that is the CEO there of the most valuable company in the world. And there's Apple, and then there's NVIDIA. And if his vision is correct, they will continue being the most valuable company in the world there moving forward. And yeah, I'm just saying he's a relatively smart guy. He's accomplished a lot there. So maybe it's not something that's just being said at the top of at a top. I'm just saying, I don't know what's going to come out over the next few months, but I imagine, as far as Tesla goes, I imagine this thing is going to be getting bid up June into July. I also know seasonality, June and July are the strongest months of the year. You could just go back. I remember I saw a Twitter post about this like about a month ago. And yeah, it's just the strongest 2 months of the year. So I was looking forward to June, July. You just started this rally a lot earlier, but I feel like when we were down here, I kind of knew the game plan. All right. I knew I was going to play this, but if it kept going, June, July, I was going to be looking to long test. So I thought we were going to be getting one of these big moves because I think it's like the last 4 June and Julys. You did end up getting a big ripper out of it. So that is personally what I will. Yeah, over here, this is June into early July. So that's what I'm saying. Okay. So we're going to be watching for this move no matter what. However this shapes up here on Tesla, we're watching for that move. I'll let you guys know about it. I'll keep you posted. But I am pretty sure, yeah, we're going to have this move. I'm anticipating a run up into the event. Now they're doing that. We'll see what happens tomorrow. If they take out 367.71, then we're going to watch 373 and then 384. That's just another one right here. Doesn't look all that bad. Amazon, does it look all that bad? No, it just broke out from a little fallen wedge, actually. Got a break and retest. And, it is just kind of consolidating here in this, it's kind of a 3-day range. You haven't really gone anywhere in 3 days. You just, relatively sideways. Wouldn't be a Henry video without the hiccups. Meta, you also hit it with the break and retest over here. You can see on the daily and the 4-hour time frame, off of your falling wedge. That's bull pennant right here. Again, does this look all that bad? No, you got above our key level. You were at 658 overnight, so I will point that out. You were at 658.50 in the pre-market, and then you came all the way back down to the scene of the crime. But you were holding the scene of the crime, which, as we could see, supply, pushed right into it, sold over here, and then boom, buyers took the shot again. I know sellers took the shot, but I'm going to argue they didn't close things in the most bearish way. The only thing is the NASDAQ looks absolutely ridiculous, and I'm just going to say this upper wick right here, I can't really find a spot. I got right here where we gapped down the next day and went like that, but we're already not setting up like that. Other than that, I'm not really seeing something like that other than right over here. You did that. This is a 2.5% candle right here, 2.5%. I like to just look back and see if we have similar scenarios. I'm just going to point out tops don't actually come off of those things. Okay. We typically will consolidate, maybe even push back up. And then, usually we have a bearish engulfing candlestick or we get these doji candles popping up. We have some sort of clear signal, and I'm just going to say over here, it's going to be right here. This is a top if it's going to happen. Well, let's just look back. Do we have a lot of these actually printing over here? No. All right. It went sideways, and then you pulled back, and it still wasn't a top. You went higher, after that. And, I know this may look stupid, but in reality, let's just look back at previous price action. Has this, occurred before? Well, you have something similar over here. I'm not going to say it's a 2.5% candle right there, 1.2%, and then you went higher off it. I'm just saying you don't really put in these, big pivot highs here or swing highs. You just don't do it off of this candle. So I don't think it's really going to make all that much sense. And I'm just going to say, yes, you have a 4-hour bearish divergence here, but at the same time, it's, normally when we push up like that after this amount of time, going sideways like that for our RSI resets, normally you'll build out another set of divergences. So I'm just saying, guys, things aren't looking all that bad. Let's finish going over the Mag 7 stocks real quick, though. That was Meta, and then you got NVIDIA over here. NVIDIA gapped up. And yes, it pulled back, but as long as it holds 137.40 tomorrow and pushes off of that, yeah, again, this is another thing that's really not looking all that bad. So that's NVIDIA. Apple, I'm not going to say it's bullish or bearish. It's just kind of in the middle. Weekly chart, we can go either way here. I'm definitely going to say it's getting really tight here. It's getting tight. It's going to go like that, or it's going to sell. Not really sure which one. I'm definitely going to say it looks heavy, but, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it over here. You have a giant bear flag going on over here. But again, daily time frame, does this look all that bad? You're consolidating above the 200 DMA. Come over here, Microsoft. You print like a hammer style candlestick on the day. You have this 3-day range. Does it look all that bad? Not really, honestly. It really does not. So I just want to make it clear. We're gonna go over the levels now on SPY QQQ, but honestly, guys, I know, again, call me freaking crazy. I'll take it. I'll take the name. Okay, I'm crazy Henry. You could call me. Okay. But I'm just saying, I don't want to seem like a perm bull or nothing. I'm just being completely realistic. You know, I told you guys about the 4-hour bull, bearish divergences before we start pulling back. People seem to forget these things, that they just call Henry, your boy over here, a perma bull. Guys, okay? I try and do my best to, you know, let you guys know, guide you guys through the price action, you know, 5 days a week here. If you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. The videos, they'll always be after the bell. But I do them at a time convenient to me after the bell, because during the day, you know, I'm just trading myself, and I will be live streaming with the Discord. That link will be down below if you want to come trade with me. You know, just hit the notification bell so you are always prepared. You'll have the levels, you'll have trade ideas to pay attention to every single week, and at the end of the day, you will have a bigger picture point of view on where the market is heading at all times. Okay, I don't think there's another channel that does it like us here on YouTube. So just hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and give me a shot, and I think I will make you happy. All right. But QQ, guys, you know, this and VIX are really the only thing suggesting to me right now that we should be exercising caution. All right. And well, I mean, I'm not going to say the only thing. We're in a weak market. I tried making it pretty clear at the beginning of the video. It's controlled by, you know, the orange man right now. Donald Trump seems to be the most powerful freaking person in the world right now, because, you know, all financial markets across the world are just at his knees for months now. Okay. Should it be that way? I don't know. Who's to say? Okay, but that is just how it is right now. And the market can definitely go in either direction. And yeah, okay. They pissed off the orange man, and the orange man clapped back, and that's what really happened today. That's what caused that. And I don't think it's so much the tariffs at this point that people are, you know, getting on edge about. I think it's literally just the uncertainty of him going back and forth. This is our freaking president, and he's just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Give us something consistent and go off so the market has a clear direction. I think that is what the market is trying to decide on, which direction that's going to be. But, you know, we do have VIX over here. You closed out not with a bullish engulfing candlestick, but you did end up perking up. And I'm just going to say we can use this candlestick to pivot off of. It's very possible. We did close underneath that 200 DMA. We rejected 1964 when we got up there. You know, you got these wicks going on here. But I'm definitely going to say if we're going to pivot off of something, it's going to be right here. You know, a lot of the times once we put in these green candlesticks, the next day, VIX doesn't really move all that much. Okay, it's not just going to be, you know, completely slammed down. It can, but don't expect to make a new low. If we bounce tomorrow, guys, it's not going to be a trap. If we close the day out strong tomorrow, it is not going to be a trap. I repeat, if we bounce tomorrow, you get a bullish close of the week, it is not going to be a trap. VIX is telling us this, okay? First of all, VIX is probably going to take out this low. Once we get one of these candlesticks, we normally don't just get a drastic move lower, all right? But as you can see, you know, once you do that, it's a little bump in the road. Maybe you get a bearish engulfing candlestick, and then down the line, you end up making the new lows, all right? Getting a drastic, you know, a little flush lower over here, just like one of those days. And that means the market can, you know, have some wiggle room to move higher. We are pretty close to all-time highs. From yesterday's, you know, when we recorded yesterday's video, we were 3% away from highs. Okay, all-time highs. Pretty crazy stuff. All right, we were just 20-something% away from that on SPY and QQ. So, pretty crazy stuff there. Okay. But if we do end up seeing VIX's candle tomorrow go like this, closes down at the low, bearish engulfing candlestick, I don't think that will be a trap. I think over the next few sessions, we're probably going to continue lower, even if it bounces a little bit and puts in some wicks, like something like that. But, you know, once we do start getting these, you know, green candlesticks, this is when you got to be wary until you get the next, you know, little, you know, daily candle like over here. It would have told you, hey, all right, it's okay. All right, but as of right now, we rejected the 21 EMA 2 days in a row over here. We're now back underneath the 200. I think we're making good progress on getting back down here, but it really is going to depend on what happens tomorrow. We're going to come over here, the monthly chart, because tomorrow is going to be the monthly and the weekly close, and I think it's going to give us a little hint. So even if we do close out the week in a bearish manner here, like we're just getting set up for the next 1 to 2 weeks. We're going to have a big buying opportunity, and that is where you want to be swinging. That's where you want to be putting your chips. You don't really want to be using it right now. I'm going to be completely honest. You don't know. All right. You don't know. You would much rather use the same exact amount of money. Don't risk the money to lose it right now. All right. You can go heavy. Okay. If you get this move down here, You have the monthly candle looking like this. This is very likely heading up to all-time highs. I don't know if it's happening just yet, but it's very likely getting up to all-time highs. You do have, this little gap. It's not on, it's on a closing basis. It's still open, but on a wick basis, it's not open. But it is sitting down there. Microsoft has the big weekly gap there, monthly gap over there on Microsoft. I don't think it's going to get all the way down there. But if this thing closes, no matter what, they can't kill this thing. That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to find a way to say it. They can't kill this candlestick. Again, I don't want to sound like a permavolt, but I'm telling you, they bought the dip. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a break and retest off of the previous all-time high. This is just about as bullish as you get. It doesn't get more bullish than this. You have a massive lower wick off of the previous all-time high, and the next monthly candle, you got completely bought up the whole month. Bought up, okay? And then what happened? You're closing near all-time highs. It is only a matter of time until probably the next 2 to 3 candlesticks where you are guaranteed to take out the all-time high, if not the next one. All right, so if you do end up, if you see us close out like this, no matter where we close, even if we're to, come all the way down to 510. All right, if we come down to 510, close there, maybe even 505, we come down to 505. Yeah, it looks drastic. But at the end of the day, we're probably just going to have one more week of pullback here. Pull back to this area over here around, 480-ish. Right over here, you have the 200 DMA sin right over here around, where are we right here? 495, all right? So 480 to 500, we would probably be revisiting. And then we would be just looking for buyers to take this thing back up to the highs. We don't know exactly how it's going to shape up, but I'm telling you right now, if this thing, they can't kill it, okay? They can't kill this thing unless you come all the way to back down, close it at 480. Do you think we're going to get a $40 drop tomorrow? No, we're not going to get that, okay? But the weekly candle, just go back and look for yourself, guys. Is this really what tops look like? Let's be real. If they close it out like this, they have no movement. They have completely flat trading on Friday, okay? It's going to close out like this. Well, again, it may look stupid, but just look back. What happens when you have something like this? Big, strong push up. All right, you got these upper wicks going on, but you have a tight, 2-week range right there. It reminds me of something like that. Reminds me of something like that. Okay, it reminds me of, these things where even the worst of the worst over here, okay? It looked probably very ugly on the daily chart over there for that week right there. And then you immediately got bought back up. Like, we're going to all-time highs. Don't let me sound too much like a permable here. But that is, end goal is you are very likely going to make it back up here. And if you do even sell back down, you're going to do that. But I'm just saying these two back-to-back weekly candles with those upper wicks, I just don't think that's, that's not usually how that goes. And if it does go that way, I feel like we more often than not will push up off of these things. It's just not like, this is your worst case scenario. You just kind of pull back for a few weeks into the very big buying opportunity right over here between 480 and right here at 495. I know we have a very skewed arrow here, but it gets the job done. It's old reliable over here. That's my girl. But I mean, that's really what we're looking at. The monthly candle kind of tells us to, just be looking for buyers to defend. That's how it is. Like, let's look back on, over here. You closed out with a nice lower wick over there, but let's look at some other times. We're not really going to find something. This is an immaculate setup. This is something that, would be beautiful on a daily chart, and it's on a freaking monthly chart. It's on the NASDAQ. Like, we're really not going to find something this technically clean unless we go all the way back over here where you hit it with the break and retest on COVID. And what happened following this? You did not get a pullback on any of the months. You just kept going every single month. Imagine what that would do to people's heads. They're going to lose their heads. They're going to be like, what? What? In a tariff market, we kept going? Again, I'm not saying that happens. I am just pointing out what has happened in the past when we've had similar looks over here. This is a monster monthly candle right here. You pull back into it. You're looking to buy it. You could probably buy it over here. Use this as a stop if you really want, because if you get back down here, I imagine you're probably going to get all the way back down here. All right, so yeah, do with this info what you will. But I think we have a pretty clear game plan. Either we're going to get bought up tomorrow and we're probably just going to continue pushing. All right, and people are going to have their minds blown. And we're going to get up here where we got in after hours. We're going to get right back up here. And then we're going to get to 532.10 to 533.82. So either we're going to get that and we continue pushing tomorrow, probably close out with a bullish weekly candle, maybe somewhere up here near the top. You know, not terrible. And then, you know, push a little bit higher off of that next week. Or we kill the weekly candle. All right. And we do end up probably taking out this 505.58 low. And then we're targeting this 200 DMA, and we are looking to, that's where you want to make that next heavy buy. You don't want to be doing it up here when the market is very uncertain. We're just seeing buyer's exhaustion again. Again, guys, we just are getting to look at this. Gap up, faded. Big gap up, faded. Doesn't matter what the news is. Let's just read the candlesticks. You have exhaustion from the buyers here. The buyers are not supporting the movement. It's exactly what it is. They keep getting their shot. It's like when I say the bears had their shot and they folded. Well, the bulls are getting their shot and they're folding. Okay, you gotta pump it, or you're probably going flat for a few weeks, or you get that pullback I just talked about. Okay, all right. Let's quickly go over levels, and then we'll get on our way. I'll share some trade ideas, some of the things that I'm paying attention to in this market. All right. But as of QQQ, guys, we're watching today's low, 517.32 underneath there, 514.59 underneath there. We have that gap left open at 511.84. On the upside, we have 521.95, 523.68, 525.97 to 527.92. Above 527.92, we have 532.10 to 533.82. We have that zone. All right, notice how you got rejected here. Well, if you start breaking above here, we have supply. We have sell orders sitting right here. You break above there, you come up here. Honestly, I don't think you're going to break above it tomorrow, even if you do bounce. I think you would just bounce, and you would probably just consolidate right here for the day. We have PC again tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. So if they give us a gap up, honestly, I don't know if we'll get a gap and go. I think we might get a gap and consolidate the whole day and drive everyone nuts, maybe. I don't know. But, you know, Tesla, I think this thing could go back to squeeze it. I'm just saying, if we do take out 3671, solid shot that, yeah, all right, this was consolidation after a breakout. No, it's not as clean as all these things over here. No, it is not by any means. But I really wouldn't argue that this looks all that bad. And if you look on the 4-hour time frame, it also doesn't look that bad. Okay. So we went over the levels over here on QQQ. Let's come over here to SPY. You did close out with the hammer candlestick today. You swept the yesterday's high and yesterday's low over here. Now we have a new low and high to pay attention to. Above 593.20, we're watching 595.54, 598.51, and 602.48. On the downside, we have today's low of 586.07. We have the gap. I know there's this lower wick. It's actually not been filled. This was like a little ghost wick that happened, and now it just looks like that. So we're going to keep the level open. I know that gap is actually open because this was just a ghost wick, and it just stuck here on our chart for some reason. But I watched the intraday. This was like a 1-second sell all the way down here, and then it got bought right back up. That probably not bought. It's just a glitch. All right. But on the downside, 586.07, 581.81, and then we have 575.60. If we return back down here, I imagine we're not going to hold this and we start selling. All right. We have this, you know, we have this time where they're about to make a move, guys. I'm telling you, they're about to make a move. They're just driving people nuts before it actually happens. But, you know, 4-hour chart looks a bit sloppy here, but am I going to say this daily chart looks all that bad? No. Honestly, no. I know, you know, buyers are not really giving us what we wanted over here. They didn't hold the overnight move. But again, that's just due to this being a news-driven market. It's weak. Okay, it's weak. You don't really want to be in these markets. But it is what we have right now. So we're going to do our best to take advantage of it. All right. But that's SPY. Someone wanted IWM, so I will give the people what they want. IWM, same look as SPY. You just kind of consolidating here. Closed out with a hammer candlestick on the day. You know, I'd say get back above 209.23 over here. You know what? We're just going to make a new level over here. Take out this high, 210.13. You're watching the 200 DMA above at 216. All right. Yes, you're going to have 213.97, but that is just going to act as a magnet at that point, and you go up there. This is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's why I'd say I don't think things look all that bad right now. I think, you know, this is probably just a pullback. And I do think we're probably going to be pushing higher. Like, this doesn't look bad at all. If you come over here to DIA, again, does this look bad at all? You have the same exact thing. I know, everyone's all bearish. I understand. I'll be the contrarian, and it's not because I want to be the contrarian. The contrarian gets made fun of, okay? The contrarian gets a bunch of troll comments when he decides to be the contrarian. So it's not all that beneficial, okay? I'm just trying to, you know, help my people. Benefit my people. All right, you know, same look as IWM on DIA. All right, they don't look all that bad. The MAGS ETF consolidating above highs there. Again, not all that bad. Come over here, Tesla. I'll just review the chart one more time. Okay, guys. Consolidation above previous range. As long as 354.99 can hold, and we are looking for buyers to step in here. You had increasing volume on the move up, and then you consolidated off of lower volume, declining volume. It's a good sign there. If we can take out today's high at 367.71 tomorrow, I think it's probably going to start pushing up here to 384. And then I think we have 401.34 coming. But yeah, I mean, June 12th, guys, that's the date that I'm thinking we're getting a rally. If we sell into the date, then it's going to be a catalyst to pump it. If we don't sell into the date and we rally, like, you know, what I'm thinking over here, then maybe it is going to be a sell the news event. Who freaking knows? But either way, we're looking for this move up on Tesla. I still think July calls are the safe move. I think you're going to have a good time with those. I think those are something that, you know, first of all, if you have to take your stab at it, it's not something that, you know, it's going to kill you over here if you're hopping in and out of them. Unless you, you know, sit on them through over here, then they're going to take a hit. I promise they will. But as far as this range over here, you know, that's at least, you know, my focus here. And I don't think it's all that bad. If we get the dip over here, that's, you know, what I would add. If we continue pushing, okay, those are the things. Honestly, those are the things I think are going to be okay, even if you want to just sit on them. At the end of the day, like I just pointed out, June to July, strongest, you know, seasonality-wise, strongest months over here on Tesla. Just, you know, I think it's over the past 3 to 4 years. I think that post specifically was on 4 years. Hey, all right, so, you know, odds are in your favor there. And I'm just showing you for a fact the chart. Okay, the chart, in my opinion at least, it is also in your favor. And then you also have the catalyst coming into your favor. You also have Elon coming back to work at his companies full time, and he's going to be saying something about it with the president who keeps moving the freaking market. I don't know if that's going to be good or bad because everybody hates the orange man right now, but I'm just going to say if he can make people, you know, bring their money in and out of the market continuously on a daily basis, maybe he's going to pump the stock over here on Tesla. We'll see what happens. Amazon, does it look all that bad? No, it does not. Okay, you're consolidating right above your 5 EMA there. Doesn't look all that bad. Above 206.85, you have 208.85. That's where you rejected. Your high of day is 208.81. And then above there, you have 211.93. Meta, what do you got? You know, again, not the worst looking candle in the world. You are consolidating now 2 days in a row above the breakout, above 641.86. That's where you have 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections. Okay. So that's Meta. You have NVDA over here. It's not consolidating. I shouldn't say that. You pulled back. As long as you hold this area, 137.40, yeah, it doesn't look all that bad. And, you know, I just say on the 4-hour chart, a lot of these are coming back into these 4-hour 21 EMAs and breakout levels. They're not looking all too bad. You know, I see we have these bearish divergences and everything, but I am just going to say, the structure, to me, it's bullish until proven otherwise. That's how everything's looking. And I pointed out what I'm thinking over there, monthly, weekly candles on SPY and QQQ. So no matter what, I mean, I'm looking to buy this dip, whether this be moving in my favor now, and I'm going to get to play a trending market to the upside here, or if we're going to get to play some downside, and then I'm telling you guys, in 1 to 2 weeks time, we get a big buying opportunity, And that's, you know, I tell you guys all the time, you don't need FOMO. Okay, you don't need it. All right, you really don't. Like if you are sitting there thinking you're missing out because something, you know, it's looking like it's going to be a crazy mover. Okay, you know, we're all human. We make mistakes. Take a step back. Okay, and I need you to realize that every 1 to 2 weeks, every single one of these tickers that you're trading right now, even if it's a runner or not, it will pull back. It will revert to the mean, and you will get a fresh entry on that reversion to the mean. That is what it is. Okay, it's not always going to be perfect, but you know. Every 1 to 2 weeks, all these tickers reset. Most of the time, they do them all together, and then you get to make some big buys on your favorite stocks, on your favorite setups. You get to, you know, make your own focus list and decide what you want to, you know, focus on those times. That's at least my approach. You know, when everything's pulling back, I will pick and choose them. All right, you don't really want to be spread too thin. I like in that's when you make the heavier buys and you pick and choose the best setups. And I'm going to point out what I like on the pullback. I'm just going to say NVIDIA, you pull back over here. I think it's going to get bought. All right, QQ Inspire, I already pointed out where I think it's going to get bought. QQ's 200 DMA over there. All right. And then other than that, we have Meta over here. If this thing really is to fade, the 200 DMA, you get a big ass buying opportunity over here. Tesla, if this thing really does pull back again, 200 DMA around $300. Okay, I point out Meta, Tesla. We're gonna point out Amazon. I like this is a chart that doesn't make me think we're gonna get all that big of a pullback here. Like I think it's more likely we do end up pushing or holding where we are for tomorrow. I'm gonna be completely honest there. Okay, and then that's about it. You know, those are the companies that I'm really thinking. Are the stocks that I'm really thinking are going to be standing out to me. Tesla, Meta, and NVIDIA. Those, you know, I specifically, I like the Mag 7 stocks. I know how they trade. I know how they move. And, you know, they are going to be moving with the market. You're going to have a better time with those than just picking some random individual tickers when everything is moving down. Okay, if everything's moving down, you're like, this is a great buying opportunity. You go on a speculative ticker and the thing doesn't move with the market when it's moving back up, you're going to be pissed. All right, I like to make sure that's not going to be the case. These are the stocks I know will be moving with the market. All right, and now I'm going to just point out some things you can focus on right now if you want that I think are setting up or at least reverting back to the mean. And I'm going to point out, you know, Rocket Lab. You know, this is another thing that, yeah, if you don't get bought up tomorrow, this looks ugly and you are probably going to be selling back down here or you're going to be trading flat for the next 1 to 2 weeks. Again, it's one of those stocks that, you know, just like SPY and QQ's weekly candle, yeah, if we really sell tomorrow and we close something like that, like I don't think we're just going to get bought up off of that. I mean, I think we are going to pull back or consolidate for the next 1 to 2 weeks, and then we move up off it. I do think we move up off in the end next month. We have that bullish monthly candle, and even if it's a pullback month, the following month is probably going to be bought up. And that would be July. All right, but Rocket Lab, similar look over here. You know, if they have 1 day to save it here, I'm thinking they're probably going to save it. This monthly candle, it looks, you know, immaculate. So if you are to get this pullback over here, if it does continue, you know, selling tomorrow, that is where you want to be, you know, putting that on. Okay, over here at this 2320 to 2377 zone down there. That's the scene of the crime. That's where we originally started putting it on your radar right here on this day. Okay, so that's Rocket Lab. ARM, I'm just gonna say, guys, I'm writing this one off. I'm not trading ARM no more. I just decided not to. This thing got me so bowled up. This and Tesla, honestly, so bowled up overnight. I couldn't believe what the market did, guys. All right, overnight, this thing was almost trading at 142. I really did think it was gonna be a huge payday today. I thought Tesla, ARM, specifically, I just thought they were gonna be a big payday. Today, with how things were looking, guys, it's like, oh my god, I caught some rippers overnight. I thought I was opening up to a 10K payday. Yeah, newsflash, guys, they faded every single one of these right off the open. Within the first 15 minutes, you had, you know, the bulkiest move down you had all day. Premiums got absolutely crushed right off the open, and selling, I had sell orders set to go with where I was thinking they were going to open up. They did not open up there. The premiums got crushed right off the open when they started absolutely dumping over here. So, yeah, if you missed out on the overnight move, don't feel bad. Most of these tickers, you had to chase them out. You know, we went from you were looking like a big winner to things were break even / you know, where they were yesterday. I'm like, oh, Jesus, what the heck is wrong with this thing? All right, you know, the only thing I will say, I gave you guys the AVGO trade idea. Those contracts off the open, first of all, if you bought them down here, you're a big winner. But you could have bought on the 245Cs when you were all the way down here, and yet you still would have gotten, I think it was like a 100% 200 gain off of the open here, because you did open up here at 245. But I pointed out on this day right here, okay, it was literally sitting right down here. I was on this day, and you had a better entry the next morning if you want to take it. I personally played ARM. The thing didn't freaking move. I mean, it moved. It moved. Okay. It gave back the move right off the open and then continued selling throughout the day. And yeah, I'm just going to say this thing is a troll. I have no incentive to trade the trolls. I have incentive to make money. And yeah, I'm just, you know, this is something that it's definitely given me some big wins. I think it was right over here. I caught this bad boy. It was a big win. All right, it was a little loser over here, right over here. And yeah, it was a loser over here. I'm not going to be trading it. I'm going to just Focus on the ones that, you know, just looking back, have not done so. And then aside from that, guys, we're watching bros. I like the weekly candle over here. You have it very, you know, tight. You had an inside week last week. You have an inside week going on this week, unless they break it one way or the other tomorrow. Yeah, I think it's going to make a decision the following week. So I think it's very likely going to be up with how this is set up. So it's definitely something I'm keeping on the radar. And, you know, if the market does drastically pull back over here, I think July calls are a good move if this thing does return to the scene of the crime. But honestly, ideally, it does not do that. All right. Ideally, it either closes out like this or starts pushing up and closes out somewhere up here, you know, 72, 73 bucks, close out the week tomorrow. And then boom, it's all set to go. All right. For the following week. Other than that, we have Piton, and I'm going to point out Carvana. Definitely just showing strength right now in this market. It's just continuing to do its thing, grinding higher after breaking out of that bull flag day by day, 3 days in a row, just making new highs. All right, so that's Carvana. We have Hood. I'm specifically watching this one on a pullback. I don't know how deep it's going to pull back, but probably going to hold the 21 EMA if I had to guess. Or we have this going on here where we're going to have a, you know, 3 to 4 weeks like this over here. It didn't go anywhere for, yeah, you know, 4 to 5 weeks right over there. We might get that, and then that sets up for a big impulsive move just like that up to new all-time highs. And we have, you know, an absolute ripper on our hands again. All right, we got to catch this one beforehand. And yeah, I think we're going to get another chance to run it back. So it's something I'm watching if the market is going to decide to pull back. Doesn't mean we're buying tomorrow. I don't think that's going to be a good move. If the market just sells tomorrow, I don't think it's a good idea just to be loading up on longs. Just letting you guys know. You know, that's where my head is at there. Crowd, you are retesting the previous all-time high here at 455.59. Just thought I'd put it on your radar, considering this is where you consolidated in this range here for just about, you know, 3.5 weeks there. Okay. And then I got 2 more for you right now. HIMS. All right. If it's going to get bought up, it's not gonna lose 51.20. If it loses 51.20, probably gonna be the beginning of the end. We get a larger unwind here. I would have to guess it's probably coming back down to either 50% retracement or the golden pocket, which is going to be right where it broke out from over here at 38.69. That's what we have on HIMS. And then the last one is PLTR. I'm just going to say PLTR over here. Same look as Hood, same look as HIMS. You know, it's got a hold over here. It's bullish as long as you're above here. I just kind of wanted to point out that this is another thing just kind of telling me market doesn't look all that bad right now. It really does not look bad at all. I don't really know how else to say it. I don't want to sound like a perma bull. I do think I'm just kind of showing you guys what the odds are and like what the different scenarios is. It's not that the market can't sell tomorrow. I'm just telling you, if it sells tomorrow, we have 1 to 2 weeks of pulling back. And I don't think the market is, as a whole here, set up to do that with how we closed out these daily candles today. So yeah, if it happens, you know, we're ready for it. You guys know what to be watching for. Okay, you guys now know how to take advantage of it if you made it to the end of this video. But straight up, you know, we don't know what's going to happen here. I do think things are looking more bullish than not here. We still can easily pop tomorrow. We have PCE coming out before the open. All right, so that is something to keep in mind there. Okay, don't get too bearish too quick unless the market tells you to do so. You know, you could have shorted the pop today. If you're bearish, you shorted the pop today. I don't think it's a great idea to short after we fell all day and now have these 15-minute bullish divergences just continue to carve out. Yes, it looks like, you know, it wants to continue lower. We'll come over here to NQ, guys. You know, overnight, you're probably going to get a decent sized bounce over here. I don't know how big it's going to be, but you've been carving out these bullish divergences. You can also see them here on the hourly RSI. And even if it burns over here, you're going to get a deeply oversold hourly RSI going into tomorrow for the PC report. So we very well can see a pop. Doesn't mean the pop is going to bring us back above the high. But if we close out, you know, with a bullish close tomorrow, if we really pump back up here, get above 562 over here on NQ, yeah, honestly, I don't think it's going to be a trap. I don't, just with how things are shaped up, with how VIX is shaped up. That would mean VIX is going to, you know, do what I was saying earlier. Going to close out with probably a bearish engulfing candlestick at that point. And then, yeah, I don't think it makes it all the way back down to slow immediately, but I think it's going to work its way down there. And then we have a new low in our hands, and then we wait to see when the next 4-hour bullish divergence pops up, or, you know, 4-hour RSI even gets oversold. It just got oversold over here, popped up after testing 200. Over here, you had a 4-hour bullish divergence. Over here, you had a 4-hour bullish divergence. You got a little pop, but it's old. Yeah, that's what I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to leave a like so we can pump our stock here on this channel and get the YouTube algorithm going. That being said, I appreciate you guys. I will catch y'all in the next one. If you want to come trade with me, that link will be down below. I will be live every morning, every day. And yeah, appreciate y'all. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.